In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in Black and White emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our...
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White, where we are coloring conversations on America's canvas. Tonight, we have a very special candidate that's running for mayor in the city of Bruce, Mississippi, Mr. Sheridan Crowley. My name is Sheridan Terrell Crowley, also known as Lil Bit. I am the 2025 Democratic candidate for mayor of Bruce, Mississippi. In 2021, I became the first openly gay Black American, African American, to be the Democratic candidate for mayor of Bruce. I graduated with honors from Bruce High School and was a member of the Beta Club. I pursued my higher education at the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, where I majored in English and criminal justice. Additionally, I studied psychology at the University of Phoenix. I served in the Texas Army National Guard before transferring to the Mississippi Army National Guard, where my unit was stationed in Bruce, Mississippi. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring Mr. Crowley to the show. Hello, sir.
Hello,
Mr.
how
Crowley?
you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How are you, sir?
Can you hear me?
You're kind of
Hello,
choppy.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm doing just fine.
All righty. Well, it's good to have you on the show. Is there anything you'd like to add to your bio before we jump into the show?
Thank you for having me this afternoon. Yes. I'm sorry. I guess I'm having some internet difficulties. What was your last statement?
I was saying, is there anything you'd like to add to your bio before we jump into the show?
I think you hit the nail on the head pretty good to my bio.
All righty. Well, let's jump right into the show then. With you running for mayor of Bruce, Mississippi, and I know that there are probably a lot of people that's not familiar with Bruce because I know it's a small town. But what I would like for you to tell your constituents and to tell people here on our show is what motivated you to run for mayor of Bruce, Mississippi, and what do you hope to achieve in this role?
Living here for the number of years here, one thing that I had noticed that Bruce needed was leadership, someone to take the city into the future and not try to hold the city back and keep it as an old, I'm going to use ancient city, but to move it forward as cities around Bruce is moving forward, and Bruce needs to move forward along with those cities.
So, I can understand when we talking about traditional cities. So, how do you feel about how do your constituents feel about you being an openly gay male running for mayor? Is that one of the things that that some people are giving you pushback on?
Actually, on that topic, haven't gotten any pushback. Um, it came up once in the conversation with me and someone, and you know, they wasn't agreeing with the lifestyle, but they said that, hey, you have great ideas no matter what your lifestyle is, who you have sex with or anything else like that, you still have my vote. So
Oh wow. Oh, wow, that's a pretty good thing. So, can you summarize your campaign platform and the key issues you are focusing on?
um my platform is to one, what the city is at now is to expand.
Hmm.
Meaning, what I mean by expand, expand community as far as jobs, activities, and different opportunities like that. And plus, keep the city safe, both residential and commercial. Um, and also, make sure we have a sound budget, because you need to have a sound budget. You don't want your city to collapse or anything. Um,
Hmm.
and there's areas where the mayor have to make sure the city is run with leadership, you know, because without leadership, the city won't run. So, you know, that's one of my main things on my platform is leadership.
Well, so when you think about Bruce and you think about the things that you say that you guys need in the city, can you tell us and tell your constituents what are the things that you're going to do that's going to be so much different than the your opponent that you're running against?
Well, there's several things that I'm going to do different than the current mayor or previous mayors. And that one thing is that they haven't focused on community.
Mhm.
And that's one thing that I'm going to focus on is the community, the people. They have only focused on sitting back and not really knowing what the people need or want. So that's one thing that I'm going to work on, and always work on if I'm when I'm elected, is I'm going to make sure that I know what's going on in the community, um both black, white, Mexican, Latino, whatever the area may be. I'm going to everything within my power to I know what's going on and what's needed in their community to help it move forward. Um, you
Mhm.
know, in today's time and what's going on with in Washington D.C., you see a lot of stuff that's moving backwards with what they're doing. But that doesn't mean your city have to move backwards. Your city can still move forward and still receive all the funding that it received from the government also. So that's one thing
Mhm.
that I'm going to be doing is making sure the big thing, city move forward with activities for every demographic, the old to the young.
Mhm.
Get things so they could do. Whether on Wednesday afternoons we start bingo for the adults or older adults, and find something to do on Friday and Saturday for the kids. That's going to be some of the main things that I do in office, along with like I said, leadership and getting the city leadership to where it should be. And that's going to be some of the main things that I do.
So compared to your opponent, where it sounds like you're saying that they're not actually they're not a people person, by actually going out and reaching out to folks in the different communities and finding out some concerns and needs. Are those some of the things that your constituents can look forward to?
Oh, they can look forward to that from day one. Um, from day one, I'm going to start it from day one, from when I first take office. That's one thing I'm going to do. Um, you know, I'm going to go around, talk to people, and I'm going to have me a notebook or whatever. Hey, what's going on? What do you see that need to be changed? Um, you know, and ask them, because everybody have a different opinion on things that need to be changed. And so,
Mm-hmm.
true enough, I will be, along with the board, be the one making decisions on what would change. But that doesn't mean that their opinion just have to be, oh, you got to come to a board meeting in order to have your opinion here. You can have your opinion here whether or not you got to come to the board meeting, because lots of people can't make it to board meetings. So
Mm-hmm.
lots of people opinions don't get heard. And so the mayor now, unless you go in previous mayors, unless you go and request to speak to the board, your opinion not going to get heard. And see, with
Mm-hmm.
me, at any time they will be able to call me, because my number is going to be everywhere. Call my cell phone. If I don't answer, that probably means that I'm asleep in a meeting or something like that, and I will return their call. So it's communication. That's one of the key things in any office need to be, is communications with with your citizens of the area that you're working for. Even
Right.
as even as mayor or any governor or anybody else like that, you're working for the people. You're not working
Mm-hmm.
for yourself nor your friends. You're working for all people, no matter who they are. Black, white, Mexican, no matter straight, gay, bisexual, no matter what it is, you're working for the people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that, they have to remember.
Right. So, so what does your city council look like? Because would your city council make major decisions as to your budgeting, the ideas you want to put in place, and how things are going to work for your constituents?
Well, as of right now, you know, all of them will be older than me. Um, Look like even the ones that still have a race, they'll be elected on June the 3rd also. There, I believe all of them about 10 to 15 years or more older than me. But I believe I could talk them, into understanding where I'm trying to go, and understand where the city need to go. Because, hey, the city need to grow. Um, there's a whole lot of talented people here in Bruce. So, we need jobs to come here. You know, I believe I will have their support once we talk about everything,
And so
because we
I
will
asked
be
that
having
question to
meetings.
lead
And
into this one. I asked that question to lead into this question. How do you plan to address the economic challenges facing Bruce and improve the local economy there?
that's a very good question. One, one, one thing that I'm going to do is, I can't say that I'm gonna get this big factory to come up in and build this big building and hire everybody. I can't say that. I wish I could, and I wish that could happen, because that would be great. But one thing that I can do, I can approach and talk to different companies, and to see which one can. It don't have to be no big factory or no big building or anything, but come up in and hire some people here,
Mhm.
and let them be able to work and not have to. Cause lots of people, even like in big cities, a lot of people here don't know how to drive, and a lot of people don't have vehicles, so they rely on others to get to work. Because Bruce
Mhm.
is, we don't have a transit system nor a taxi system, So,
Mhm.
you have to call friends and family members to get around. And that's one thing also that I'm gonna look into is at least getting some little taxi system going for, certain hours to help people get around, and you know, family members don't have to take off work and stuff and everything like that. But one thing as for the economic system and to get Bruce where it needs to be is, hey, I'm going to set up meetings from day one. I'm going to start calling, setting up meetings with different companies and see which companies that'll be looking into coming into this area. Um, because we do have land for people to build on here. Um, and we have, the people willing to work.
Mhm. And so, because I love the ideas that you're actually pitching, because I think there are a lot of especially a lot of little rural cities, where things that need to be upgraded, they're not happening, and it's been announced like it could be like for God knows number of reasons. So, do you think that by wanting to upgrade the city and bring the city into the 21st century, do you think it's I mean, do you guys have term limits?
We get elected every 4 years, so not really term limits. I could be up in for a pretty good while if I get elected each time.
Oh, so you can just continue to run for mayor. So it's not like you got two terms and then it's over.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I can continue
So
to run.
okay, because you know what it sounds like is that probably do you think it sounds like maybe shaping the foundation to make it solid under the city, and then you start building up and out is what it's probably going to take, but it's probably going to take you quite a few terms to bring it into the 21st century. Are these some things that you have set forward, you and your team, that you want to start pitching to your constituents for what your plans are for Bruce?
Yes, we have started, telling everybody who we get to talk to, who have a minute to talk, whether it's on the phone or sitting down face to face. We have told them over time that one thing, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. Um, because the company may have to come up in and build a building to for to hire employees to work up in, or they may be able to find we may be able to find a building within the city limits, or that we can renovate to do other things up in. um
Mhm.
One thing is, um Bruce just sold the what used to be the Bruce Theater to a man up in Memphis. He's going to start doing things in that theater now once they renovate it. Um, and we have two or three buildings that, hey, we can fix them up and get a company to come and open it up. You know,
Mhm. Yeah. So,
but
what's
it's going
the
to take.
yeah? I can imagine that, because I know that with the that pocket for where you guys are located, it's kind of like it's like a world of its own. And so I'm just thinking, like, can you give us some ideas as to what are the things that you're going to pitch to help to open Bruce, to really get it the exposure that people need to have in order to bring all of the economic growth that you want?
One of the pictures I'm going to use is, for example, I'm going to use warehousing. Bruce had one of the biggest warehouses here.
Mhm.
Hey, look at Weyerhaeuser, which is used to be United Church, but it's Hayward. I'm like,
Mhm.
these two businesses is the only two that Bruce done had running, that haven't closed their doors for people to work at. And plus, I'm going to we're about 24 minutes from Oxford, Mississippi, which is Ole Miss. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, pitch to the company, hey, and most of them be like, okay, well, yeah, I can come open a business here because on Fridays or Saturdays, whenever I can, they'll give me also access to go to the Ole Miss games. That give them access to Oxford, and Ole Miss, and
Mm-hmm.
for the ones who want to take their family to see Elvis, we're about an hour from Tupelo, Mississippi. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with getting businesses here, they look at, okay, y'all look, we may be a little bit too far from Tupelo, but they'll see that, hey, we do have, adequate roads and everything to move stuff in and out of Bruce. We don't have the congestion that a whole lot of big cities have. So it's it's pretty easy. Then we have Grenada that's to the southwest of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the big major cities here up in the state of Mississippi. So, you know, and we have several access to get quickly to I-55 from here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh.
if it's pitched just right to, you know, I it will have to be to I will have to have the pitch to go towards the company. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of hard to give in the right example right now because I would need to know what company I would be looking at pitching to
Right.
them to get them to
Mm-hmm.
come into the area. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but I would pitch, different things, the access to Oxford, Tupelo, Grenada, then some of the homes here, because a lot of people they may want to buy a home, so when they come and visit their factory or whatever, that they can don't have to stay up in a hotel room. So I will have to pitch that to the company based on that company. Um,
Mm-hmm. So, what role is entrepreneurship going to play in your administration as you build Bruce?
well, see that that question is very great because we do have um, some people who are trying to get different business off the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and I would suggest that they come to the board meetings and first come talk to their alderman and talk to me or whoever the mayor is, to see for the best fit, to see what the best fit for their business would be. Because in anything with business, it turns out location. What's the best
Mm-hmm.
location? Which in Bruce, there's really not no best location because you can pretty much put something anywhere if you have good product, good food. The people going to come. And one thing that I've had a friend of mine to ask me about about him starting a business, and I think that he's going to get it started either later this year or next year. One here in Bruce doing some
Okay.
things.
Well, see, that's really interesting. And see, the reason why I was asking that question about the entrepreneurship is because I think when you're like pitching to build your economy, I think small business will have a really substantial role to play in that, in order to want to help to generate that revenue, get people working, along with the companies that you want to collaborate with to come into your city to help it in its growth. And so, like at this point, what is the population of your city?
The population, well, the voting population right now, um, is just a little bit up on the 2,000.
Okay. Oh, so you got a nice little intimate,
Which
cozy
you
city.
know, yes, yes, which that doesn't count the people vote. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because we went around trying to get people registered to vote, and some people just did not want to register to vote. So, we couldn't force them to. Um,
Right.
so, that's not counting the people who's not registered to vote. But
Hmm.
if we were to count the people that not registered to vote, I think it'd be closer to almost around 3,000. Um,
Oh, oh.
that's not even count. That's not the kids that getting up to the age of 18. You know,
Mhm. So then, if the overall, so that was just the voting population. So what is the overall population of the city of Bruce in guesstimation?
and guesstimation, overall, on the census, the U.S. Census, there was I think it was almost 5,000. Counting
Okay,
kids and everything else, that was almost 5,000.
okay. Well, so just, yeah, so really that's really a nice sized city where you guys could actually become a major player in the whole state of Mississippi.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to take Bruce to be one of the major players in Mississippi.
So, what specific policies do you propose to enhance education and opportunities for young people in the community?
Well, as of right now, there's I will have to talk to some of the principals, the three principals that we have for the elementary, the middle school, and the high school, um, about the policies about the school, um, because as of right now, I haven't really looked into you know that education. I've looked into the Head Start.
Mhm.
The Head Start funding is being cut out of the United
Oh,
States, and that is a very important. That's a very important for the kids. Is Head Start. I went to Head Start. Um,
mhm.
the first year there, it wasn't a good year for me, but I went to Head Start uh, because I was still a little spoiled baby. So,
Mhm.
I went to Head Start, and Head Start is very important for the kids. It helps
Mhm.
get them closer to being productive in learning different things before school start that the parents may not be able to teach them at home. And so I have already drafted letters from day one for when I start that I'm going to send to the mayors here in the county, um, to get them together and see how we can save Head Start here for Calhoun County. See how we can, if we have to try to save it for the first year, to
Mhm.
see how we can save it, and see about helping them get grants and everything to stay open. But education is very important to me. um I suggest every child take full advantage of all the education they can get. And one thing that
Mhm.
here in Bruce, um you know I wouldn't necessarily go over to laptops, because I
Mhm.
love to have a book in front of me for my education, not a
Mhm.
laptop. But um, one thing that I think they trying to go over to laptops in the classrooms. Um,
Mhm.
but that still can be a great thing. But we have to get the students. Um, it's we have to get them wanting to get that education,
Mhm.
and doing their best.
Mhm. So, with the school system there, especially in your city, um, what are the grades for the schools? I mean, are they like sitting like the middle of the state? Or are they sitting in the upper tier of the state? Where do they stand?
They're sitting like almost in the middle of the state,
Okay.
which each year, sometimes they may go up or go down some, but they've been like right there almost up in the middle of the state, which they
Mhm.
could be higher, because we do have the kids that, you know, don't want to try, or go to sleep and everything. But like I said, we have to get them motivated to want to get an education. um
Mhm.
One thing to show them that, especially the blacks, Latinos, anything, or any other race, is, hey, if I'm elected the first black mayor, that can be, hey, they can, I need to improve my grades so I can, run for, office, or do this, or do that, because lots of them parents are my classmates. So,
Mhm.
you know, and a lot of them is telling them, hey, this is my classmate. He's running for mayor. He's trying to do good things. You know, he went got this education. He went did this. Because a lot of people would tell their kids go into the military, but hey, going into the military, you still have to make a certain amount on the asphalt in order to get into the military, whether
That is
it's the
true.
regular army, the navy, the national guard. You still have to make a certain amount on the asphalt in order to get into the military. So in order to make that certain amount, you have to be paying attention in school. Yes, you may think that the teacher is not teaching you anything that you need to know, but you will use it at some point. And one thing you will use it on is taking the ASVAB test.
So when it comes to
Because I'm
education
very big.
and the school system there, can you tell us what are some of your plans for education in the schools? How are you going to improve the schools and upgrade the schools? What are those things?
Um, First, I think what need to improve is the actual school buildings. Um,
Okay.
Make sure that the school building is not looking like a psych ward or anything else like that. Making them look, making them look like, hey, they're classrooms. You know,
Right.
Tell the teacher to, have a little ideal, and just don't have your room plain. You know,
Mhm.
um, Put up some stuff to help educate the kids. Put up some stuff, and one thing that I'm going to talk to the principals about is also having speakers come up in to speak to the kids. That goes from elementary school on up, because I think that by having the speakers come up in, that can help give the kids the motivation to make higher grades, to study more, to
Mhm.
listen to the teachers, to attend school. um, One thing that I'm going to ask them is, they look at the attendance policy, you know,
Mhm.
um, because some kids, they miss more than anything. I think they should lower the number of miss that a child can make before they contact the parents,
Mhm.
because education do start first at home. So if the
Right.
mom and dad is letting the child miss school, the child ain't gonna get the education that he or she need. So
Mhm.
that's one thing I'm going. That's well, you can say that's a policy also that I'm going to look at doing, is having them to lower that, um, to get state agents involved, the truancy officer, um, like if the child missed 3 days, 3 or 4 days back to back, see what go talk to the parents, see what's going on.
Mhm.
Because some parents may
Well,
not know the child is missing.
right. And so, also, when it comes to your educational policies, are you thinking possibly of just implementing, let's say, like, and making the curriculum a little bit better, where it's a little bit more inclusive for all students, and just learning, basically, um, just lifelong lessons that they need to have, instead of like teaching to a test. Because it's my understanding down that school systems around the entire country only teach to a test? Are you thinking that, I guess once you win and you get in and you get a chance to see what's happening with the system, if that was the case, would that be something that you'd be looking at changing?
Yes, yes, because in my life here and from my education, yes, I learned a whole lot from education, but I also learned a whole lot from hands-on stuff, stuff that
Right.
wasn't taught to be on a test, you know,
Hmm.
um, stuff that I had to get out there. I hate to say it like this because if you ask my brother, stuff about getting your hands dirty. One thing my brother would say, I'd never get my hands dirty, but I had to do some of that, especially in the military. When you go
Hmm.
through training in the military, you have to do what they tell you to do.
Hmm.
So a lots of hands-on stuff need to be. I'm not gonna necessarily say taught, but shown at the school. They
Hmm.
had what they call it. Um, Schools used to have home ec, and I'm gonna call it workshop or whatever.
It
And
was it was
I
shop.
did, yeah, shop. When I did
Hmm.
the shop, we
Hmm.
we basically stayed up in the classroom.
Yep.
We wailed about 3 times, and so I'm like, now there's a whole lot of other stuff they could do with that, as far as
Hmm.
they could partner with some of the mechanic colleges to help get them, for ones who want to be a mechanic, decent mechanic, whatever, help get them started, into that. um where they will have the fundamentals down that they done, been trained at the school in order to go on to their college to be successful. Or now, for the ones that want, hey, I wouldn't say necessarily do it in school because some people can't cook, so we don't want to burn the school down. But hey, we can. That can be a part in it too, because people are doing a whole lot of cooking online. When like podcast, well, not really podcast, they're more recording their cooking and putting it on Facebook and stuff. Um, a whole lot of that is going on. So they could, that can be something that the school can tap into also, is, hey, students who love to cook, we got this cooking class. It's not going to be based on a textbook. It's going to teach you the fundamentals when it comes down to cooking, um, to get you, prepared to be a cook or to open your own restaurant, or get you a food truck, because food trucks are booming nowadays. Um,
Hmm. So
that's area where I think the school, no matter what, that they need to look at. And I'll bring it up whether I'm mayor or not. I'm going to bring a whole lots of stuff up, but
mhm.
I'm still gonna be fighting to become. If I don't win this election, I'm gonna fight to be up in the next one. Because my grandfather taught us never to give up, and that's one thing that I would tell students: never give up. Keep fighting. If you can
Mhm.
dream it, you can make it happen.
Yeah. So, compared to the ideas that you have, give us a vision as to how your vision is different from your opponents.
Well, first of all, far as I know, my opponent, the only vision that he have is that was in the paper here that I shared on Facebook, um, which he inflated the amount. I'm not gonna say the amount or anything, but the amount he that he told the paper was $700,000 to do sidewalk improvement for the handicap, to add
Oh,
gutters and rails and stuff. Um, and the amount that they got approved for was inflated by by the current mayor. They would not be receiving that amount. It's still a pretty good amount of the record that I pulled. It's still a pretty good amount, and I think that amount still is still too high. They did it, and I
Mhm.
don't think it's the cost that amount to put in no, to fix stuff for the handicap that's already there. Um, that's already been fixed. That they just gonna add a couple handrails. What they gonna do with the rest of the money, I don't know. But one of
Mhm.
the things that that's the only thing that he's working on. That's the only thing that he's banking on to get him back into office. And as for as me looking at the city as a whole, you know,
Mhm.
what can I with Warehouser being here, what grant can I get from them to improve the city? Um,
Mhm.
look, I'm going, look into Hayworth to see if they have any type of grants or anything to help get the city to where it needs to be, because there's a lot of people that doesn't even know how to turn on the computer, so they can't get certain jobs.
Mhm.
So to bring the when I said bring up the city, I mean yes, bring up the buildings and everything, get them to, you know, if they need to be tore down, tear them down. If they need to build another building right there, build another building. But also, when I said bring up the city, I mean bring up the people too. You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
you know, because that's what most people fail to do is bring up the citizen.
Mhm.
Now you
So,
can say
no, go ahead. I'm
go ahead.
sorry. No, I was just
No,
gonna
I was just
say.
gonna say, I was just gonna say that most people don't think about bringing up the citizens, and
Mhm.
that's one thing that I'm very passionate about is helping all citizens, no matter who you are, helping all citizens. Um, they just like if a person of age and they want to get into the military, I will help them study the asphalt, and try to help get them, to the score that they need. But help the city. I also bring up the people by, some adults need some tutoring on some stuff. You know,
Mhm. So, another difference that I like for you to tell us about is when you mentioned the economy and budgeting for the city of Bruce. What is the difference in your plan and the plan that your opponent has right now at this moment?
okay, for the budget, he just want to make sure he keep the budget where it at, which we are at a sound budget right now. We're in the positive. You know, we have a sound budget. Um, he's not looking increasing the budget in no
Mhm.
type of way. I'm looking to increase the budget, and I would like to increase the budget more than each year I'm there. At least take it up more than $100,000 plus. Um, Not saying it's going to happen, but that's what I'm going to work towards. And
Mhm.
that's one thing that he doesn't he don't have a plan to increase the budget. He don't he's not trying to increase Bruce in any type of way. He is, he just want to make sure he be there when that $700,000 hit, which is not that amount. He want to make sure that he's there to spend that money how he want to spend it. And my whole thing,
Mhm.
let's increase the budget, increase the citizenship, because you do have some older people who are looking to retire somewhere, and I think that Bruce will be a great city to be put out there for people to come to retire.
Mhm. So, can you tell us then when it comes down to actually budgeting? Have you guys has he balanced the budget each and every year that he's been there, or has it always continued to be a surplus or a negative?
Well, he have with up under him the budget have been balanced to stay where it's at. No dramatic increase. Um, with some of them may have been decreased some, but he have never did a dramatic increase to take Bruce up budget up to another level, and to do the things to keep it up to that level and to keep it going further. And that's one thing that I'm going to look at doing is what Bruce budget is at. How can we increase the budget? By increasing the budget, can we each year at least add $100,000 plus onto the budget to increase Bruce, increase the citizens? I know it sounds like a whole lot, and it is a whole lot, but that's one thing that the mayor and aldermen have to do is work at getting. They're supposed to work at increasing the budget. They're supposed to work at raising up the city. They're supposed to work at raising up the citizen. And that's something that's not happening. They just keeping it right there at the same level. Sometimes it may go down, but then it'll come back up. But we don't need to be on no flat level. Oh, we just used to this budget right here, and that's all we're going to have. We're not going to try to increase the budget. And it's those are years past. Those should have been done with in my grandfather years. And but it haven't. It's still not too late for Bruce. And we can do that. We can get the budget up to $100,000 plus added each year, and still bringing up the city and bringing up the people of the community.
So in this case, by increasing revenues, have you thought about, or have you guys, you and your team, have y'all put in the plans as to where you're going to get the money from in order to increase the revenue?
I have several places that I'm looking at to increase the revenue. I don't want to give out any of the names right now because we're still talking to a couple places, and ain't nothing final or anything. And so I'm looking into a whole lot of stuff about the revenue and increasing it, and thing that I wish Turn Mayor he would do. Either if I win or lose, I hope that if he's watching this, because he have watched some of the things that I have did before, I hope he take a few notes and say, yeah, I need to look into that, because Bruce needs to increase like everybody else. Every other city around us increasing and doing different things to increase their budget, but we stand like I hate to say this, like a person who's on retirement that get $3,000 a month, and they only thing they make sure they come out is for the essentials, their bills and whatever left over. They don't try to increase it. They just, that's what they have every month to spend, and that's what they spend. Increase the budget, because you never know what the city may need to step up in and do with the way things are going in Washington D.C. now. I hate to see our schools funding get cut dramatic from the federal government, and then we're not able, the city is not able to help the school. And with the revenue, that's one way we'll be able to help the school and help other people.
Now, you brought up an interesting point there when you mentioned Washington D.C. Now, what a lot of people have not thought about, and just like actually just critically thought, as to especially this conversation as we're having it today, is that, I'm going to go broad and I'll bring it down. So like in Washington D.C., we have a problem where the America's credit rating was dropped. Okay, A lot of people don't know this because they only covered it for like 10 minutes in the media, the mainstream media. The credit rating was dropped because it says that America's not bringing in enough revenue. Now, we all know that America's not bringing in enough revenue because what the occupier of the White House has done is taken money from everywhere that actually funds the country and the government itself in general and is giving that money to the top 1%. So in doing that, there's no revenue coming in other than, people, the country and the world being funded off the backs of folk that don't actually have revenues to do that. So now as we come down and we look at Bruce on the city level, not the state level, does that sound like something that's probably in about the same realm as in what's happening?
I'm not gonna say it's in the same realm of what's happening, but the revenue here in Bruce is like it got a cap on it right now, and like I'm gonna say it like this: it's like a soft drink. You done shook it up, and it got a cap on it. It can't explode. So that cap needs to be taken off, and and in Washington D.C., I'm sorry, they firing people left and right, VA and everything else. So your revenue is not going to be there where you want it or where it need to be. And exactly. So here in Bruce, when you look at a small town compared to Washington D.C., you can say Washington D.C., since we're a small town, we not the 1%. He's stepping on a watermelon. No, let's make it even smaller. He's stepping on an orange and finna bust all the juice out of the orange. Right. And that's what most people don't look at or know or understand, that we have to protect ourselves also in with our revenue. And with I don't want to get to Washington D.C.
I understand, but see, it's a great example because when I'm listening to you and listening to the plans that you have, it sounds like something that's really going to be great for your city, especially if you don't have your people on the city council that's going to be doing that same thing where they're going to try to prevent you from doing that to where it's already happening. Just give me an example if that was the case.
Yeah.
So it's like when you have the ideas that you have, when knowing that you have to increase revenues, there's so many places that you got to do that. And so what I'm trying to get at and what I want you to get out to your constituents is the why and what's the purpose and why they should look forward to you as mayor of making that happen.
Increasing revenue also increases money up into the citizens' pocket. Most people don't understand that. Most people just think that, hey, the government, the more money I make, the more the government is going to take. No, that's not true. Not in this case. In the case of Washington, D.C., yeah, he's trying to do that. But in the case of the city of Bruce, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to take from the citizens. I'm trying to add to the citizens by bringing up in higher paying jobs. The highest paid job we have now is warehouser. So I'm trying to bring up in more higher paying jobs so we can bring Bruce up to a new tax bracket along with bringing the people up. I just don't want to bring Bruce up and leave the people down here. If I do that, I'll be doing the same thing Donald Trump. I want to bring the people up. I actually want to bring the people up where they above the city of Bruce.
Right.
But it's going to take work, and it's going to take the city council to work with me. And I believe after talking with them that all of them will be on board, and the ones that I have gotten to talk to, sit down and talk to, they have some of the same ideals, especially the
Mhm.
new ones that is coming up in. They have some of the same. We have some of the same ideals, in bringing up the citizens and up too. Um, with some of the same ideas. So I think we'll get a whole lot more, a whole lot of um, better stuff passed to see that increase in the citizen revenue and the city revenue coming up. I think we
Mhm.
can, then the ones that I hadn't gotten to talk to, I believe that once they actually hear it and see certain things, that they will be on board too.
Mhm. So, how do you intend to improve public safety and community relations with law enforcement?
As of right now, um, I would say Bruce is one of the safest places there is in Mississippi.
Mhm.
That I have a good rapport with the chief, with the second, some of the polices I don't know because they done hired some that that's moved here, and they done hired some that I don't know. But one thing is tell the police, you just don't have to ride around all the time. Sometimes,
Mhm.
y'all also need to talk to the community also to that way that when something happens and they see you pull up, they can talk to you calmly and you can get a better
Mhm.
understanding of what have happened. But
Mhm.
one thing I'm gonna tell them to do is, hey, get to know the people. You don't have to know everybody's name. Get to know the people, because there's one officer here that that he used to get out the SWAT car and throw the football with the kids.
Okay.
And I thought that was a wonderful thing because they all, every time he come and stop his car, they all would go run into his car and he would get out and he would play with them. It won't be
Mhm.
for an hour and then like that. He'll just throw the football a couple times. Then he'll tell them, hey,
Mhm.
y'all, I got to go. Then he'll get up
Mhm.
in his car and he'll go. But they
Right.
remember him from for that and they know his name because of that. And I think that
Right.
they highly respect him because of that. And I think that, even if you can't throw a football, nothing, get out and talk to them. You know,
Mhm.
um, See how they doing. Because
Mhm.
kids, they have feelings and they go through stuff too. So get out and talk to them, see how they doing. That will also help make the city safe because before they will do something, if they can't talk to their mama, their daddy, their friend, maybe they'll come and talk to you. You know,
Mhm.
you got to build a rapport with the community and each person. That doesn't mean you got to know each person's name because trying to remember 2,000 names and faces, I don't think I could do it. But I remember, hey, yeah, we did have that talk, and you say you need to talk to me some more. Come up into the police station. We could talk, and you never know. You could save a life.
Mhm.
That's one thing that I would tell the police. Always talk to them. Just don't, you know, just don't arrest people. Um, you know, Before you arrest them, um, if you see them and they ain't, busy and they have time to talk, get out and talk to them, speak to them. Just don't ride by and turn your head, speak to them, and you know, and that will help with the crime because most crime happen in smaller cities like Bruce is because
Mhm.
they know where the police is at because they said, okay, that's where the trouble area is at, where the police is at.
Mhm.
So if the police
Mhm.
is actually getting to know the people, and and the people getting to know the police, they're gonna be like, okay, that trouble will subside. It'll start going down, and
Mhm.
they the police is, we only have so many at a time, so we're not like Oxford where we have 100 on every shift. We probably have two or three, about three or four somewhere up in there on every shift. So, they can't be all over the city at one time. So,
Mhm.
you know, if everybody's in this one neighborhood, the other neighborhoods are unprotected. And so, the people talk, talking to the people, and hey, the crime rate will be down because it's talk, and because we don't arrest me. Kids remember stuff like that, and that's one thing they don't want to do is this cop who they done got to know real good to have to come and arrest them because they was being bad. But
Mhm.
also with here, they had to start having officer at the school, and that's something that I'm not gonna say is a good thing or a bad thing, but that's something that shouldn't have to happen in these small towns here up in Calhoun County. Somewhere like
Mhm.
Memphis, yeah, but they had to do it for security reason also, but to keep the city safe, it's gonna take the police force doing their job other than just riding around into the bad neighborhood. Get to know the people up in the neighborhood, because the bad neighborhood can come up just like the good. you know
That's
um
true.
it's not everything that's bad in that neighborhood. It's just a fruit that is bad in that neighborhood, just like when you have rotten apples. If you put a whole lot of rotten apples into a basket, they gonna rub off on the ones that is touching them. But if the polices are have removed the bad apple, and hey, the neighborhood is not bad anymore. So,
Mhm.
get to know the people, and the people will help make the city safe by talking to the police and letting them know what's going on.
What steps will you take to ensure the access to quality health care for all residents of Bruce?
Quality health care. Okay. That's one thing that well, we do have great a great amount that is retired and get Medicaid and Medicare, which again Washington DC is doing a thing to that. So one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the healthcare, as far as insurance, which insurance will be best for the people here,
Mhm.
because I know before I went over to before I went over to having the military take care of all my medical needs. Um, you had companies calling, getting the older folks to get onto this. I know there was four people that I had to help change their insurance so they can claim doctors. If they was gonna have to, switch
Mhm.
doctors all over. So what to do is look at insurance, see what's best for this area, get the best two for this area, get them to come and talk to the citizens. Don't call them, come and talk to them. Give them paperwork showing them what y'all company will do, can do, that they will get to keep their doctors here, that they don't have to change a doctor that's a family doctor that's 45 miles away or further. That's one thing that I would do, because some people probably may end up losing their Medicaid and Medicare.
Mhm.
Medicaid is ran by the state. In
Mhm.
the state of Mississippi, if the federal government stop helping them with Medicare, they gonna most likely stop paying for Medicare. And so, that's one thing that I could get the people to look at, and also look at the costs. You know, when this happened, healthcare costs is going to go up because they're gonna be looking for the people to pay more of the premium.
Now, Now,
And
this ain't being shady. This ain't being shady, but as you talk about Medicaid and Medicare, and think about what Brett Favre and the former governor did in the state of Mississippi when they did that fraud with Medicare and Medicaid,
mhm.
and they were not held accountable for that. And that
No.
was millions and millions of dollars. Okay, so like, what can the people of Bruce? What can you tell them right now that will make them feel comfortable and secure that they know that once you become mayor, you are going to go to bat for them? You are going to negotiate the Medicare, Medicaid situations for them, for all your citizens, to ensure that you try to get the best price, the best cost, and the best coverage for them.
The way I can assure them is, for the ones who know me, they know that I'm a fighter. I just don't sit back and wait. I like stuff in black and white. Um, that means once it get put up in black and white, I got you. I don't mind about taking you to court. And see, if I was more in politics when that happened, I would be, I would have been up in Jackson. Hey, y'all did this money right here. This money. Y'all got where this money went to. Get this money back. Get this money back. Put this money back where it's supposed to be. You know, um, because one thing I did do, which I didn't put my name on the letter, is I did write a letter to the governor. Yeah. But hey, I don't wrote one to the president. If he read it, he read it. If he don't, he don't. But when I become mayor, if I have to go down there every single day to get things done, that's what I'm going to do. If I got to pull out my hair and their hair too to get it done, that's what I'm going to do. Because healthcare is what people need. Because if you get sick, you want to be able to go to the doctor, get well, so you can go back to work. Now they trying to take away all the healthcare and everything. Okay, somebody gets sick, how they gonna go to the doctor, get well, to go back to work? Y'all still want the small people to cover this money you done gave to the 1%, and especially the money that Elon Musk done got. So how can they do it if they don't have health care? Because if you work them like a dog, at some point your body gonna start have aches and pains,
breaking down.
And if you got to go and have a knee replacement, okay, you need to pay for that knee replacement and rehab to get them back to where they can go back to work. If you don't, they'll be with the knee replacement, and if you don't move the leg, it's gonna stay straight. So then they won't be able to go back to work. So I look at stuff I said I like to put examples in real life things about it. Let's take someone who's on Medicaid and Medicare, and they have gotten of age, and they body have started doing different things and different elements. And one thing that's here is a whole lot of people, for some reason, is getting cancer. Fighting cancer is it's an everyday battle. And if you take that insurance away, you taking away half of their battle to fight cancer, because they won't have the right to go to get the treatment. They won't have the insurance to pay for the treatment. They won't even have the insurance to pay to see the doctor. So actually, I would tell them in Washington, D.C. also, y'all are killing the 90%. The 10% y'all don't took care of. But y'all trying to now kill the 90%. How do you expect for anything to happen when you're killing the 90%? Get the 90% well. Make them whole. The 10%, they really don't need no help. Yeah, I know people love to keep their money in their pocket, but that's one of the laws of the land, that you got to pay taxes on stuff. Why should we pay for y'all? Y'all need to be paying y'all part we pay our part, and the government do what it's supposed to do, take care of the people. It's the same way up in a small city. I got to take care of my people. Okay. If that I need to go to Jackson, I don't know how long I'm gonna be down now, but I'm going to talk to the governor to get him to change his mind about the about start back funding Medicaid. If that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do, because I'm the mayor. I'm going to fight for my people, and if my people are sick and can't go to the doctor to get well, what good is I'm being there? You know, I'm just then I just be a trophy mayor, and I'm an active person, so I couldn't be no trophy mayor. One thing that I plan to do if elected is well is go and talk to our representatives that's in Washington D.C. Hey, y'all need to step up. We put y'all was put into office to step up, not to just sit back and sign whatever bill, not to take things away from the team. Y'all letting him do this. Y'all letting him do it. And that's one thing that y'all are not doing. Y'all not stepping up. But in two more years, 4 more years, whatever it is, y'all gonna be coming back to us. Hey, elect me for this position. For what? You didn't do nothing. You let this tyrant just help the 1% while he's killing the 90. So they need to step up.
So, can you share your vision for community engagement and involving residents in local governance?
Okay. One thing I'm telling people now, and I've been trying to get them, but the more I talk to people about it, the more I will get them, to start looking at local government. Is I tell them, go to the board meetings. Even now when they have board meetings, I tell them go to the board meetings. If you don't have a problem, still go to the board meeting so you can know what's going on. You have to know what the people that you have in office, you have to know what they're doing. So go to the board meetings. That's one thing that they do here once a month is a board meeting. Sometimes they may call a special board meeting, but they supposed to, put it out and let the people know. And I tell them, if you have a problem, just don't sit back and be mad. Don't call up there cussing or anything. Call up there and let them know the problem, and it, and get it fixed. And your local government is the way you get things fixed here. If you have a water leak that's outside your house, one thing you would do, you would go to the city hall, you tell them, hey, there's a water leak outside my house. And, then if they don't come fix it, come see it, send somebody that day, call up there, hey, when y'all planning on sending somebody to see about this water leak in front of my house? Because, I'm finna be up in a swimming pool here pretty soon. And sometimes with some people, you may have to, say something to them 3 or 4 times. But me, when I get up in there, that's one promise I can make people. I'm gonna be the leader that they need, and I'm gonna tell them if somebody come up here with a problem, you see what the problem is, you see how to fix the problem, and you send people to fix that problem, because it doesn't make sense that leaders are elected and problems are not fixed. Once they see that the people elected are doing their job, I'm hoping and I'm praying that will also increase them getting more into politics, seeing more about what's going on in politics, getting a better understanding about politics. Because one thing that I have ran into with several people here is that with those with this saying, they gonna put in office who they want to. So I asked them who is they, because I need to find out who they is so I can tell they to put me up in office. So but uh, but I've been working on that. Hey, it ain't we like I told them. I said the voters are they. So and you of age to be a voter, and you register to vote, but you don't go vote. So go vote. You are they. Just because your candidate didn't win, you still voice your opinion. That's how you voice your opinion in an election and who's supposed to be sitting up in what seat. But I will
Mhm.
also tell them, talk to someone who their alderman and their mayor. Hopefully, I'll be the mayor, and see what all they could do. You know, ask them, hey, what is your job? What are you doing? You know that also. I think if people kids see them doing that, because most of the people here, um, some people come back after they graduate from high school, go to college, and a whole lot of people they stay here. So if the people who stay here see their parents doing it, maybe that will also get them more into looking into educating themselves about the government, this local level, state level, federal level, and actually knowing what each one can and cannot do.
Well, I have to say this because I definitely love that because I think that should make the people feel secure that at least you're listening to their voices and you're working on their behalf, and that really means a lot. But when you just think about this again as we started the conversation, what role do you believe local businesses play in the growth and development of Bruce, and how will you support them?
I'm sorry, would you repeat that question?
As what
Because
role
we
do
had
you believe local
I was
business?
on my end, the internet.
Okay, I was asking you, what role do you believe local businesses play in the growth and development of Bruce, and how will you support them?
Um, well, with any growth in Bruce, whether it be from regular citizens, um, businesses, um, they would need to have a understanding, foundation and framework with the government of Bruce. Um, whether it's with all the aldermen or part of them and the mayor, but it take communication, and that's one thing that I will have to make sure as long that lines is communication to make that grow. Because won't nothing grow without communication, or if in some words a plant won't grow if you don't give water. So
Mhm.
you know that's one thing you have to do is make sure that line of communication is open to make to help and make things grow, is to open up that line of communications, in which some areas here, I don't think the line of communications are open, and that's one thing that need to happen is the line of communication be open. um, Talk to the citizens, talk to business owners, um, then come together as one and talk, because you done got everybody's side. Now you need to bring them together to make one, to be able to make everything grow from within the city.
So, how do you plan to tackle infrastructure issues and improve the transportation system in Bruce?
Infrastructure. Well, we have some bad roads. Mississippi is known for bad roads, but one way I plan to do that is most of the time for Bruce, most of the time we receive grants to redo our roads. And so that's going to be also one of the first things is try to receive grants to fix the roads. Um, and in the way that I think Bruce can put out some money on help fixing the roads too. Um, but I will have to look deeper into the budget to see about doing that. Um, Now, as far as transportation, right now, um, like I said, Bruce don't have no bus routes, no taxi or anything else like that. That'll be something that I'm going to look into when I get into office. Is to not start a bus route because there won't be enough to support a bus route. At least do a taxi. See about doing a taxi service here. Um, to help people get around and everything. But the main thing to be looking at is the fixing of the roads. Now the main highway is just fine. It's the streets, the local streets that some of them need to be redid because they have did some patchwork on them because they had to dig them up for whatever reason to get them redone in a timely manner. I'm not going to say I'm going to get them done within a year, but I will let people know that the grant that I apply for, I'm going to apply for enough to do the whole city of Bruce.
So, let me ask you this question because that sounds really interesting to hear you say that. Because when the federal government distributes money to each of these 50 state capitals, and it's like monies for project, and the state gets these monies for these projects, especially road
Yeah.
projects, because they fund DOT big time.
Yes.
Are you actually saying to us, with all of that funding that's given to Mississippi for road projects, that Bruce is not getting none of the money?
Well, we come down to DOT. DOT handles the main
Mm-hmm.
highways. The streets are left to the city.
Well, I understand that. Right.
And so, in order
So
for Bruce to get into the money,
from the capital, they're supposed to distribute to each of the cities.
you got to apply for that. If you don't apply for that money, you're not going to get
You have to apply for that.
Yes.
Oh wow. So then have you guys been up have they been applying for that money?
They have applied for some, and the current mayor used it in the white neighborhood. I'm just gonna be honest. He used it in the white neighborhood to make sure
Okay.
their roads was
There we go.
top notch, and
There we go.
the other
There we go.
area.
Mm-hmm. So there we go. So see,
Yeah.
again, I understand, wanting to make sure that you make sure you get your platform out. But I think these are some of the things so that your constituents need to know is that not everybody is benefiting from their tax dollar. Because if this is what your opponent is doing, what is he going to do the next time if he gets so lucky? But he won't get lucky this time because you're going to win.
Yes.
And so just in that process, I mean, like, this is where you need to make sure that your people understand that you're going to do what you're going to do.
Yes. And see, that's what in the neighborhood where I live at, that's what I don't talk to a
Right.
whole lot of them about. Is they was like, "Are you gonna fix the roads?" I said, "I don't have a choice but to fix the roads because
Mhm.
I drive my vehicle here. True enough, I drive a truck. So a truck can handle the potholes and everything better than a car, but it still does wear and tear on the truck
Right.
too. And so, I told him, I said, that's going
Right.
to be one of the things that's going to have to be taken care of, because we do have one of the schools that's not that far from my house, and they call themselves fixing that right there at the school where the white folks had to drive on to, and I didn't like that. And so,
Right.
right now, I'm going to tell, as soon as I get up in, hey, I need to know the amount to do all the roads. I want all the roads to be done. And, I'm going to apply for the money. If they deny it, I'm going to apply again,
Right.
and keep applying, because all roads, not one area, but all roads need to be fixed to a certain standard,
Exactly.
because everybody has to be treated equal. But yeah, that's what a whole lot of the funding that we receive from the state or the federal government. First, it's applied to the white neighborhood, and the black neighborhood will just get whatever if they get anything. And like I tell people, I'm not looking just to help one, because one person
Right.
or one group of people is not all that voted for me. So, like I was telling people about
Exactly.
Obama. Oh, some people, how Obama didn't do nothing for me. I said he did something for everybody. He did something for white, black, Mexican. If you was here, he tried to do something for you. And that's the type of leader that you need. Somebody who's not looking at skin tone, but is looking at, hey, I got people right here that I need to help. These people right here need the same thing. I got to get both of them the same thing, and put it up to a standard. Now, if their role standard,
Definitely. I was listening to you. Yeah, I was listening to you.
okay, have to be the same for all people. You can't have this area, oh, because they're my friends, I got to make sure that their standards is at 100, and these people over here, oh, we're just gonna lead them to 0. No, everybody's standards have to be the same. If you do up in that area, make sure you do up in the other area also.
What initiatives do you propose to promote environmental sustainability in your community?
um Honestly, that's something that I haven't looked at too far, um that much into, but that is a good area for me to look more into. But you know I'll just, if something comes up with the environment, I just won't make a I'm gonna play I just won't make a dummy decision. I will use every avenue I can to get educated on whatever's going on, to make an educated decision that will be good for the people of the city, and good for the environment. Um, because one thing that warehouses does, they cut down trees, but they also replant. I will tell you that they also replant, but they it takes longer for a tree to get big enough to cut down. But and a lot of people believe that cutting down the trees does have an effect on our environment. So um you know I can't tell them, hey, y'all got to stop cutting down trees, and people started building houses. And so but there's other ways to there's other ways to to handle that. And when it come up, or if it doesn't come up, I'm still gonna look into that question so I can be better prepared for it, for my for the citizens of Bruce. I'm going to look further into that.
Okay. So we pretty much covered what you're going to do as far as your platform go, and our time pretty much has run a pretty good while, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time because I know you've got a lot of campaigning that you're still doing. So in closing, what would you like your constituents to know what you're going to do once you're elected mayor on June 3rd? Let your tell your constituents what are some of the things that they can look forward to, and why it's important that you become the mayor of Bruce, Mississippi. Also, let them know how they can connect with you on social media, how they can connect with you on your website, however you like to do that. Just give them some of those things in closing.
Okay. One thing that I'm going to always do is fight for the people. Fight for the people of the community. Build up the community. Build up the city. When I say community, I mean people. I'm going to always put the city of Bruce before anything else. My main goal is infrastructure, to work on the roads, work on the buildings within the city to make sure they're up to a standard or code. Then I'm going to make sure that the city promotes stuff, events for each age group, the elderly, not too much of the elderly that can't come out of the house, but the adults that like to do bingo, kids, dance competition, or whatever it may be. Um, I'm going to make sure the city be doing everything they can to make sure that the citizens are happy here, wants to be here, and wants to work to help bring the citizens up and the town of Bruce. That's one thing I'm going to do, because I'm going to put the pride back into the city of Bruce. Over the years, lost its pride, and another thing that I'm going to do, y'all gonna have a fighter. Whether I have to go to Jackson to fight for something, or I gotta go to fight for something, y'all gonna have a fighter. And I don't give up on just somebody can tell me no 500 times. I'm gonna keep on till I get a yes somewhere. I'm gonna get a yes. I'm a fighter. I'm stubborn. I'm sorry. My grandfather, he didn't raise no quitters. I don't give up. So that's what you need. The city of Bruce right now need a fighter. Need somebody who's gonna fight for them. As they see me fighting for them, they'll start fighting for themselves. So I would tell them, hey, let me show you I'm going to fight. Then then y'all can see that, hey, yeah, he was honest about he's going to fight for us. Or I knew him in school. He don't give up. He's a hard worker. Or for the ones who don't work with me, they could tell you I'm a hard worker. I'm going to work for the people because I love my people. I love Bruce. And I want to see Bruce, be on the level with other. Just because we small, we could still be on the level with the bigger cities. And I would love to see that. And that's one thing that I will work towards. And as for getting in contact with me, they can get in contact with me on Facebook. I have two Facebook pages. One is S. Terrell, Teril, Crowley, XY. And I have a Terrell, Terrill, Crowley. Both of those are Facebook. They can call my cell phone at any time, 662-800-9219. And, I just ask that, hey, they try to do it, between reasonable hours when you call my phone. Um, not nothing at midnight, hopefully. But try to call me at reasonable hours. I don't mind people calling my phone. I don't mind, you know, people here in Bruce, they know where I live. Stop by my house. I'll sit down and talk to you. We'll try to get whatever's going on straightened out. But those are the ways they can contact me, and I'm available for anyone to come talk to.
Okay. And I want to thank you for letting us, help you to get your word out to your constituents and to the people of Bruce, because it's very, very important. I understand how it's broken down into different, what they call them, districts and so forth.
Yes.
But what I want the people also to know is that what we do here on America in Black and White, this platform is for the underserved, the marginalized, and promotes also the LGBTQ community, where we want to be that resource to help in what's happening around the world at this time.
Yes.
At this time, you guys see in Bruce that you have a candidate that's here that's got resiliency, he's persistent, and he also is letting you know that he is fighting for you. Now, if you've got this kind of warrior, the warrior needs some more soldiers on his side in order to make this come to fruition. So I know each and every last one of you that not only watching this, but you saw the promotions of what was going on. You guys make sure on June 3rd that you march down to that poll and you put your vote in for Mr. Crowley, because it's time to make that change in Bruce, because it's needed. Right now, you don't need to be one-sided. You need to be whole.
Yes.
You need to be whole. If you're not able and willing to march to the poll, that means that you're satisfied with what is happening right now. You can't be happy with what's happening right now because there's too many grievances. You got somebody that's on your side that's ready to fight for you. Get behind him and push and make sure that he's over that finish line. I'm very sure that once the results come in on June 3rd, we're going to see a brand new mayor in Bruce, Mississippi. And let's crown him mayor right now. Mayor Crowley. That's what we're saying right now. Yes, sir.
Yes.
I want to thank you all that's been watching here on the YouTube channel. For those of you that are watching on the YouTube channel, if you have not yet subscribed, please do us the favor and support us by clicking the subscriptions button, clicking all notifications. So every time we have a show, you will be able to catch that show live, because it's going to notify you when the show is going to go live. I do post on the channel, for different things that's happening around the country and just in the world in general. There are posts that you guys, I know you would love to read, because they're always relevant to things that are happening today in the current events. So I need you all to please, let's get behind Mr. Crowley. Let's go to the polls and let's vote. Let's make this change, and let's show people around the country that we can build inside and then out. Let's make it happen. Thank you, Mr. Crowley, for letting us have the opportunity to help you to get your message out to your constituents. And we definitely would have to have you back on the show again, because, I had a ton of questions for you, but I wasn't able to get them all in. But I'm quite sure that your constituents got the gist as to where you stand and what you're going to be doing. And my support is behind you. Even though I'm not in Mississippi, I'm still supporting you. And I'm sure that you're going to come out as the mayor of Bruce, Mississippi. So I want to thank you all.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, y'all have a great evening. Have a great weekend. And please come back and watch next week as we have another great slew of shows for you guys next week on America in Black and White, where we are coloring conversations on the canvas of